Hi, my name is Mike Tusaw. I'm a financial advisor from St. Charles Wealth Management. Today, we're going to discuss which strike price would work best for you if you were going to buy a call option. Now, in today's presentation, we're going to be using our old friend XYZ stock. XYZ stock, of course, is my all-time favorite stock because it always does exactly what you want it to do. So with XYZ stock, a couple of things. First is we are going to assume that all of these options are 3 months out. That's what our time frame is going to be. There's many different time frames with which you can select, but for today's purpose, we're going to assume a 3-month time frame. So in this, we are going to have three choices. An in-the-money call option. The 45 call is trading at $6 per contract. The 50 call is trading at $1.70 per contract. And the 55 call is trading at 50 cents per contract. Let's start by going over the 45 call, the in-the-money call. It is priced at $6. Once again, these prices are totally made up, but they're similar to what you could see in an actual stock of this price. Now, the benefit of buying an in-the-money call option is that it's simple. There's a couple of benefits to it, but the first one is that it's simple. You'll notice that this option is priced at $6 per contract. That means that 5 of the $6 are intrinsic value because the stock's priced at $50 per share. So in other words, if the stock were to stay the same and we wait until expiration, that means this option mathematically has to be worth $5 per contract. There's only $1 of what we refer to as extrinsic value in it. And so what that means is that you have a lot of intrinsic value in it. This is what's going to be the most similar to actually holding the stock position in and of itself. Now, because of that, it has what we refer to as a higher delta, meaning that the correlation in the movement of the stock to the movement of the option will be the greatest of these three choices. So in other words, when you see the stock go from 50 to 55, mathematically, this option has to be worth at least $10 because it's $10 in the money. And of course, there'll probably still be a little bit of extrinsic value in it. But on here, you can see that this option will have made the most money in terms of the actual dollar amount. It'll be the most similar to holding the stock itself. Now, the other benefit of this is that $1 as of right now that's in this for time value, remember $5 for intrinsic value, $1 for extrinsic value at the $6. Only $1 is vulnerable to volatility risk, to time decay risk. There's an old saying, sticks and stones can break my bones, but volatility and time decay can never hurt me for my extrinsic portion of my option. The intrinsic portion of my option. I know it's an eloquent saying, and I actually just made it up, but the point is that when you have an option that's deep in the money, you're immune to a lot of the other factors of option pricing. Now, the disadvantage of this is that it's the greatest cost, meaning that this one costs $6. The other ones are going to be significantly less expensive. So if the stock were to go from 50 to 40 at expiration, you're losing $6 as opposed to losing the lesser amount of money that you would with an at-the-money or out-of-the-money option. That's the disadvantage to buying an in-the-money option. Now let's go at the money. Let's say that we want to buy the 50 call and we want to buy it for $1.70. That's the current price of it. Well, I'm about to tell you about what, in my opinion, is the most exciting thing in all of option trading, and that is gamma. So what that means, an at-the-money option cannot be at the money for very long, or it's very hard to be. So if the stock's trading at 50, the 50 call is at the money. Now, if the stock goes to $50.01, it becomes in the money. If it goes to $49.99, it becomes out of the money. So it's very difficult to be exactly at the money. Now, what's exciting about this is that the more in the money you go, the greater the correlation to the underlying you have. And so with an at the money option, let's say it goes in the money. It'll go in the money when the stock goes higher and higher. Now, as the stock increases in value, the at the money call becomes in the money. And then the correlation to the movement of the underlying will become greater and greater as the stock increases at a higher value. Now, that's pretty exciting because that's the equivalent of buying more shares of stock as it's going up without having to pay any more out-of-pocket money for it. That's very exciting to me. And that's the advantage of buying an at-the-money call option. That's something that can really benefit you. And that's the reason that a lot of people do it, is because you have that greater correlation happening as it goes more your way. And that's what's known as gamma. There's other presentations that we have that can cover that specifically. Now, of course, with anything in trading or investing, there's advantages and disadvantages. What's the disadvantage? The disadvantage to buying an at-the-money call option is that it has the greatest amount of time decay in it. So in other words, going back to our in-the-money call, that had $1 of time value in it, $5 of intrinsic value, $1 of time value in it. This has $1.70 in it. So if the stock were to stay the exact same, then you're going to lose the most amount of money between all three of these choices. Now, keep in mind, if the stock were to go significantly lower, let's say it went down to $35 per share, you'd lose $1.70 here, you'd lose $6 with the in-the-money call option. Now, if the stock were, so in that case, at-the-money call would be better. If the stock were to go up from 50 to 70, let's say, I'm just making up numbers, you'll have a greater rate of return because it will have cost you less money to achieve that rate of return. So that's an advantage if it goes higher. Now, once again, the main disadvantage, if the stock were to stay the same, there is more time decay that's existent in this at-the-money call as compared to the in-the-money call. Last but not least, let's talk about the out-of-the-money call. We can also buy the out-of-the-money call for 50 cents. Now, no question, the biggest advantage of buying an out-of-the-money call is that it costs the least amount of money. You'll notice this is only 50 cents as compared to $1.70 and $6. That's an exciting thing. Now, when doing this, though, the disadvantages are that this is going to be the least likely to profit. Whereas if the stock goes from 50 to 54, then you know you're going to have a profit from both the in-the-money and the at-the-money call option. If we go from 50 to 54, if it doesn't happen fast enough, we could still lose money on this call option. So one way that I like to use out-of-the-money calls is if I want to keep a lot of money off the table and just kind of have something out there in case there's a major run-up. So for example, I think that XYZ stock could go significantly higher, and I don't want to put a lot of money on the table. I don't feel comfortable spending all that money for an in-the-money call option. I don't feel that comfortable spending all the money for all the time decay that's involved for an at-the-money option. So you know what? If I buy this 55 call option, I have a small amount of money on the table. And if the stock increases significantly above 55, like I think it will, then this is going to be a very beneficial trade for me. But if I'm wrong, or it only goes up to 52, 53, I lose 50 cents. And that's the disadvantage of buying an out-of-the-money call option. Like all three of these, there's an advantage and a disadvantage to all of them. And finally, if you enjoyed today's presentation, please subscribe. That way we can get our content out to more people. If you're looking for a financial advisor who delves in the option product, if indeed it is appropriate for you, feel free to reach out to me. You can either visit my website or you can follow me on Twitter, stcharleswealth.com @Mike Tusaw. Thank you and have a wonderful day.